All right, here's another one. This one's the second part called Spiritual Material Landscape 2. Right, this is all about basically following up some of the more stuff I just said in the first one about our time and circumstance and how we're here and where we got here now from how it all began. Right, as I said, right, I told you the first part. Here's my thumb. All right, is yeah, this is about God, right? The old man, right, coming as Kalki, as prophesied in basically the fourth Veda, the Arthara Veda. If I've got to pronounce right, I don't really care. There's also another Fire Priest book, right? And he's meant to be coming anytime now to save the day, right? It's just a question I put, right? When he arrives, great, you're here, right? When I picked up the Vedas 21, when I was 1996 at 21, the first thing when I realised about the prophecy of Kalki coming in, the total recall of my life and rediscovering all of this was this. So why couldn't you have always been Kalki in the first place? And that's at 21. I still stick to that now to this day, because, you know, when you understand the four yuga system of the Vedas, which the world is in, the four yuga system, a four-age system, we're in basically the fourth Kali Yuga system, which is the darkest and the most evil. And he's going to be coming sometime to usher in the Golden Yuga, the Krita Yuga from here. Question I put, right, you know, in the four Yuga system, why didn't he always stay Kalki in the Krita Yuga, and why do we have a three Yuga system when he could have just kept it always a Krita Yuga as Kalki, the master original incarnated God head of himself, right, as a personality, yeah, the original incarnated master Godhead of himself, rather than all his dalliance of the second death from Treta Yuga, the treacherous Treta Yuga, the Silver Yuga, that is, all the way to the Kali Yuga. He's been Rama from to the Silver Yuga, Lord Krishna from basically the Dwapara Yuga of the Bronze Yuga, and then basically Lord Buddha and Lord Chaitanya in the Kali Yuga in now. Now they're the main personality of all the incarnations of himself. He has been other incarnations in between, but they're the main incarnations of himself as who he is. And if you look at all of his stuff, right, this is the big question I'll put to him again, and this is why I called him out and call him out still to this day as the father, right? Although I'm with the old man, the basic Kalki as God, I will call him out there and hear that word. I am with God. I'm not anti-God. I'm not against the father. But the one question I do have him up on is this: why didn't you always stay Kalki, and why basically in these three yugas have you always kept it so it's a monetary system? So because he's the one who's basically bringing in always the philosophy of unconditional love in service, which means back to yoga, rather than what we're in karmic yoga systems, which are basically monetary systems, Kuverian systems, yeah? The lord of the money is Kuvera. So why is it since basically what, as I say, Treta Yuga to Kali Yuga, he's basically been Rama to Chaitanya, and every ministry he has in all these incarnations, he's never removed Kuvera from the situation, who's the chief of evil spirits of the underworld. Right, we're on earth, the seventh heaven, right, Bhuloka. Of the 14 regions, we're in the upper seventh region called Bhuloka, Earth. So this is meant to be a heaven on earth. Why has he not basically worked and kept the superintendency with who is designed in creation to be Lord Indra, right? Of the heavenly host, of the upper verse of the heavenly host of the whole of the creation, not the underverse. So is earth the upper verse, the seventh heaven? Why has not Indra been put inside all human resources and basically kept it so it's a time sharing of duties, which is the lightning bolt, the Vajra of Lord Indra, which is basically the time share the duties in 3913 or 44473 as an example of a roster that we could be using, rather than what we're in now under Kuverian systems of monetary orders and enslavement, a karmic system where you're working for 48 weeks and getting a 4-week holiday on general, right, on pretty much most jobs, right, here, there, right, in the rule of thumb at the moment. So this is what I put forward to the question, and I wonder if anyone else has thought about this, you know, in the passing. about God before everyone gets all like blind and gooey-eyed about the subject of God, whatever, and get these, just get sort of like, sucked into it, and rather not really questioning in a deeper question, rather than the veneer consciousness of finding this stuff out and then going, well, actually, when you really get deeper with this stuff, this is to me what's really going down, and we've basically been hoodwinked by the Father for three yugas, or we could say three penitentiary systems of time, where we've been put in a second death, the second death being monetary systems and the legality and governments of corrupt kings and government, right? And this has been going on for far too long. You see, and the way I see it, that we're waiting basically in these prophecies for God to arrive, right? Or other people are waiting for Jesus to arrive, basically, that the presiding cupidal son, right? Yeah, and that ain't gonna happen. You see, he ain't arriving how you think he's going to arrive. I don't think he's going to arrive in flesh or Kalki. He may do and he may not do. The question being, this system basically needs to change, and the way I see it, that we don't have to wait basically for God to arrive. Basically, in the meantime, we must basically be sort of like under some spiritual sort of like duress, under some self-flagellating enslaved system of governance for the meantime, because somehow we don't deserve to basically be living by our own basically like volition of intelligent way between ourselves, to work it out between ourselves, and taking down these governments, where all governments, when you think about it, in our time and circumstance, are only a postage stamp of postage stamps of population against the rest of the world population, the world's envelope of everyone else. All the governments across all the world, all their rulers, all the kings, all their militia, all of their legal systems and all the banking systems itself are only a postage stamp of industry. There are three main industries, as I say, go on about: the bankers, the legal law, and their government, and the royalty, if they have royalty in their countries. And they're all as postage stamp of people. We're a majority of everyone else. We run everything. Why are we basically taking all this rubbish and this enslavement from these people, that postage stamp, and it's everyone else who runs everything? Why don't we just remove them from office by gradual, outvoting them in 24 general elections across, all our countries, and staggered general elections by outvoting them, which, oh, by the way, Britain actually has done by 2001 as registered voters, and that's a subtlety you already need to know to be having a nota. A nota is enough that you as a registered voter hasn't voted by 15 million since 2001, actually 17 million in 2005. That went over everybody's head, right, myself included, who was a non-voter as well. I'm highlighting these things up now in 2023, and has been highlighting these stuff since 2019 roughly, in my time in vlogs. No one else seems to be saying it. Yes, I do bring all the historical, the Vedas and the Bible, New Covenant. Why shouldn't I? That's what I do. It's my videos. I do what I like. I'm taking the whole shebang through with it. And this is how I'm coming from with it all. To me, this needs to, be brought up to speed, and people need to be brought up to speed of what we're doing here. Now, time is to basically remove government from office, and you do that lawfully and rebelliously. Well, how we prove we are the first class, have a psychopathic second class systems of a fourth class religion, and bring it into the first class of everything, which is the Sangha of Buddhism, the first Brahmasaprad of Lord Brahma, rather than the Shivasaprad. You can call it the fold of basic Cupid, not Christianity. Christianity is under Shiva. That's got nothing to do, right, with basically the real message of Cupid, who's Jesus Christ, the presiding Cupid, or son of the Pradyumna expansion, who told us about the same denarius system. The only sage who's actually ever said about Bhakti Yoga, give any hint about it, by talking about the same denarius system, where you've got 1 hour if it's a job to you, or 8 hours if it's a career, for the same payment, which is denarius, the one denarius. Well, we could say practically all free for everybody. So in homogenized living, you could say, well, that's like saying, well, doing 13 to 15 weeks between 4 people in one duty when it's a job. We don't mind doing 26, 39 hour, 26 weeks or 39 weeks a year if it's a career to you, right? In the reality of what we're living in, it's, to me, is what basically needs to be looked at on Earth, why we're here. Right, and this hasn't been, and this is our landscape of time, of our situation, or we find ourselves in this situation, and until basically we get together you know, and understand when people say like chant down Babylon, you know, how to chant down Babylon. What is Exodus? How do you Exodus? You see, it's all very well, no, great as these songs are, but what is the same page about it amongst us all to actually make that realistically happen? If everybody's basically have their own opinion, which is right to a degree, but if we haven't got the same agreement, the government are in their own system are going to keep on taking advantage, because the rest of us who don't vote, or 15 million, haven't come to a same focused drive as you know of what is going to happen. Because one day, if they did throw it back to us, what would we do? You know, and by rights they should have done by 2001 as a government via UK in politics. I don't know what the rest of the trend in the rest of the countries are in the 24 general election countries, of how big the amount of non-voters or bigger to the parties in other countries. But here in UK, we've beaten them. What would we do all of a sudden if all of a sudden 3, 4, 5 more million people stop voting and they join the unheard third, the silent majority? What would you do? And what did they do? They hand it back to us. Because one day, you've got to understand, the days have been cut short here by basically like us, the people, not voting, right? So that part of that the Bible has actually kind of come to fulfillment in prophecy by us not voting, the elect being us and who don't vote on voting day in general elections. Not voting, we are the elect on general election who chose not to vote in our own sovereign independent self. So what are we going to do? So I say, well, I'll meet you in the 5-point plan, which is not to vote, step 1. Well, we've done that, so it's just got to keep it on growing. Then we become neutral and non-monetary as step 2 and step 3. And then we clear all the debts in step 3, consolidating all housing and hospitalisation into the first estate. And then we condense what we need and what we don't need. And because it's non-monetary, it doesn't matter what gets closed down when you're not losing anything in your life from your house or your car, so it's not jeopardizing you or your family if you have a family, and you can reconvaluate what you want to do, and you know what you already know what you can do, and you're basically in a system now, it's direct drive to do it. And then step 4, you timeshare the duties, you put that in human resources to keep what's relevant keeping. You're using the 3913 and the 44473 template drive. That is 39 weeks back to yourself, and 30 weeks between 4 people, maybe 15 weeks in brackets if it's 2 weeks induction. You're still getting 37 weeks. And the other one is 44 weeks and 4 days back to yourself, 10 months in your career and free time. And you work 7 weeks and 3 days in between 7 of you. Maybe you might have to work 8 weeks, 4 days induction, that to 4 weeks taken out of the 4 days. It may be a bit longer, depends what best suits an industry in using these rostering templates in their industries. This is where basically we can take it. And then step 5 being to criminalise all drugs and have more rehabilitation centres and dealing with flora that way, like Portugal already has, and that's under a monetary system. So when I'm saying taking the monetary system away becomes even better, because you've got more things to do in your free time and sobriety to keep yourself together when everything's free, when you have to pay to book up to turn up. Well, it stops people from helping their progression sometimes, and can be used as an excuse to, or you know, when basically you now have a strength to, even because you just got to book up to turn up and timeshare everything in the work, in the rest, and in the play. Understand? This is where I see that we can be taking things in our life and directing. So when basically one day, you know, today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. Right, by now you should have realised what you know, what you got to do. So do you know what we want to do? The 5-step plan. Right, this is the only way you got here. Right, I leave it basically to you to figure, say more. I'm probably going to do another one of these sometime. It's taken me enough time to basically do this part 2. But these are my vlogs. I do them when I want to do them. And I'll leave it there right now for now. And yeah. Have a think about this all, folks, you know. Anyway, yeah, have a nice day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. See you later.